So today's guide is going to be amazing. We are going to clean up the entire engine room and we're going to use our first repetitive command blocks. So that's absolutely brilliant. Then we're going to strongly extend the stop command where we add some team modifications as well as what really happens when the game stops, with of course some unconditional command blocks as well. On top of that, we'll add a second page to our book, and we'll actually start with that, where we add a teleport to the engine room, which will be an enclosed space at the end of the guide. So as you can see, we have pages here. And for example, if you put your mouse next to this bracket, you'll see a red dotted line. For this one, you don't see it because it's a bit confused about this. Now, if you would remove that, now you can see the bracket is actually working perfectly. And basically means if you would just copy this part, and you'll see a comma here. If it's the only page, you don't have to use the comma. But if you want to make a new page, of course, then you have to use the comma. And now we would have added a new page entirely. Of course, we're not going to call this game mechanics. The title is going to be teleports, and we'll quickly make a teleport called engine as well. Now, of course, we can remove this entirely. We don't need that part because we're going to have only one teleport right now. Just give it a color. Click event is run command. It's just going to be teleport executing player to 546163. And what I want to do quickly is make this another enter because it was a little bit cramped. Now we have start, stop, and on the next page we have teleport to the engine. Well, dark cyan wasn't the color. Quickly give it the color aqua, we know that exists. Now we have start, stop, and we have teleports engine. So in our previous guide, which was a little bit of a sub-guide where I taught you how to color a book, we saw something really strange happening. We have a display, which is just an attribute, just like pages and title and alter, and it overrides the title. However, it has a sub-JSON called name. And now it works pretty much the same as you see in text. You can set it up just like that. So you say display and name is going to be another JSON key, and only then you parse the string to change the color of it. So that's how you set the display name in the bottom. And if we take the book now, you'll see, hey, a red name, beautiful. So we have at least also a book with a beautiful red name as well. Perfect. So basically, when I choose teleport, I'll be teleported to the engine. So we have that settled as well. Let's join team 2. And you see the set spawn point. Players won't be able to see that later, but for now we'll see everything that's happening. If you want to see that for yourself or you don't see that, go to game rule. Game rule has a lot of rules, which you can set to true or false depending on what you want for your server. So it's always good to just look through them and see what's going on. So what we need, of course, is command block output false. If I do it now, you'll see nothing. But for now, we're going to set it to true. And if you do it then, you'll see all the titles. If I go to the spawn, that works perfectly as well, but I'm in the ground. So that's absolutely wrong. Often it will happen that you get teleported actually to the spawn, and that means the spawn is corrupted. So if I join team 3, and you'll see me starting it, and you'll see me spawn perfectly normal. You don't see the little jump and you don't see me in the floor. So always make sure you just put the spawn a little bit higher up. So what I used to do, not this block is going to be the spawn, not this block, but actually this block is going to be the spawn. Or even if it's possible, one higher, so you see a little jump when he spawns. Now then, of course, we have the stop command, and it doesn't do much yet. It might be a good idea to make a chain block that is always active and conditional, that it will teleport all players to the spawn. So let's see what it is. Officially, this is a spawn, but here they can switch teams. So basically, as soon as the game starts, we want to lock this building entirely, or at least lock the team selection. So maybe just spawn them somewhere here. So again, let's take a higher point. I'm going to copy that real fast. And I usually just type it in chat, 326641, and I cut it and copy it with Ctrl-C and Ctrl-X if you want to cut it. And let's teleport everyone to this place when we stop the game. So when we start the game, we get teleported to our spawns. And when we stop the game, we get teleported back to the spawn base. And you can also use that to pause the game. Make sure that you disable PvP as well. It is time for this part to be replaced somewhere else. Okay, I did some offline sterilizing, so we have a better vision. So we have a massive problem that we still need to address. If I do team list, I see only 5 teams. I see the 4 teams I created on my other server, and I see the Session Quarry Guards. If I list the Ses Guards themselves, they say you have a member. Now where are my other 3 teams, you wonder? Well, that's really simple. Minecraft simply removes the teams if there is no players in them. That is a massive problem, and we have to address it. It's a bit of a dirty way, but it is not impactful simply because it will return a false each time it doesn't need to happen. Now every team needs a little bit of his own space. So let's dig our way into the start part. Let's stack this 6 times. Whoa. So I made 4 blocks in the back. So we have a little bit of a room as well. So what we're going to place is we're going to place several repeat command blocks. And let's just copy control our signs here. So we hold control and we press the middle mouse button. And then you can just place it with the text on top of it. And let's simply start with adding the team Toad Vang. And here we'll add the team at the Navy. And here we add team at Ses Guard. And last but not least, we add team at Ses Skull. Now, if we do team list now, we still see there's no teams yet. And that's because we simply haven't put this on active yet. We just set it on needs redstone. But if we would activate this one, you'll instantly see the team Ses Skull has been added. We still have the Session Quarry Guards because I'm a member of it. So if we put this one on active, the team is not being added because the team already exists. And if you look inside the command block, the team already exists by that name. So it instantly stops executing this command block. So we don't have to worry that it will cost a lot of performance because it simply already exists. So it instantly returns false on the first tick already. And let's put this one on always active as well. And this one on always active as well. And we instantly created all the teams we needed. Every tick we check if the team exists or not. And the team will always exist if there's a player on it. But since we're still building, there's not going to be players. And later, when we have games going, players will join. And players will not be removed until after the stopping of the game. So we don't have to worry about that. And talking about that, when we stop the game, we want to remove all the players from the teams. How do we remove a player from the team? As you know, I am a member of the Session Quarry Guards. Oh, that is beautiful. But as far as I'm concerned, the game is stopped, so I shouldn't be a member of any team. So even if I stop the game, I am still a member of the Session Quarry Guards, and that is absolutely not acceptable. So let's quickly put it up like this. Now the best way to remove all the players from the team is simply removing the team, because we know it's going to be created instantly again. This way I'm now in team 4, but when I stop the game, I'll be still in team 4 as an integer, but you see the name is now in white. That means I'm removed from the team I used to be. We want to just clear in team as well. So you just use scoreboard players reset all in team. This way when you stop the game, you also see the scoreboard disappears entirely, and that's of course because nobody's in team anymore. Of course this works perfectly, but this is not smart. Because what happens if a player just leaves the game prematurely before the game has stopped? What happens if someone gets disconnected? So we don't want to do that. We want to just remove this entirely. To reset every entity from a team, you better use the asterix. And if you stop then, now everything gets removed. And as you can see, reset in team for 31 entities. The asterisk simply means every known entity will be kicked out of in team. So if I cheat real fast, here I join the Skull Crushers and I'm kicked out. That works perfectly. So the next part, and also the reason why we do this, is going to be very important. We are going into that deeper in another episode, but for now I want you to know, if I set the sidebar to team scores, we'll see Corsairs, Dredgers, Morians and Zealots, and that is actually taken from game mode 1. Well, we're building game mode 2, so how do we get those names in there? And those names are actually fake players we add to the team, and those fake players will later hold the combined score of all the players in the team. Basically, we need a player that can hold scores from multiple players. And in order to do that, these are the team scores, of course, from the other game mode. So we are actually going to have to call it maybe a little bit different. For now, I will do team join, toot vanguards, and then we'll just take a player name. For example, vanguards. Of course, you see it happens a million times now, and that's of course because this needs to be conditional. It only occurs when this one is changed. If we do the team list and we go to toot vanguard, we now see we have both the vanguards and we have me, Reaper Iro, in the team. If we go back to the sidebar in team, you'll just see only Reaper Iro is added to the team. And that's because Reaper Iro is actually a player and Vanguards is not a player. So the Vanguards will also not get the team number assigned to it. And you know, the team number we use to direct the team members, for example, teleport them. We'll set the next one on conditional right away. And now it's actually time to change the name the team is actually called. And we'll do that simply by team modify, toot vanguards, and we're gonna say the display name will be text. The text will be Tootenek vanguards, and the color will be green. And we have to give it a display name, of course, because the team name itself cannot be more than 16 characters and definitely not contain spacebars. If I just switch conditional with unconditional, you'll see updated the name of team Tootenek vanguards in green. And now we also want to modify the team color. Team modify Tootenek vanguards color is going to be green. And you'll see instantly my name in team changes to green. That means everyone in the team will now get a green colored name. And if we do test, we also see in the chat my name will be green. If we modify the color of the team, that will modify the names of the players in the team. And that will also in the future help us when we go to team score actually see the team name colored in the team score elements. Then we'll add one more, and that will be a team flag. Team modify to vanguard. Friendly fire will be false. That means everyone in the team cannot hit each other. So that's it for now. You can set more flags if you want, of course. We'll just copy it. And don't forget, the moment you use the copy command, the place where you stand will be the place that it will be pasted. So stand near a very easily recognized point, so you always know where you're going to paste your next command blocks. And then I'll just know I have to stand here, and I'll do paste, and that will be my command blocks. Of course, this is going to be navy, and we're going to add someone called navy, and that's going to be called the Tootenek navy, and their color was aqua. And now we fix this one as well. We still have it on our clipboard, so we just go paste again. Copying things will always be the thing most prone to making mistakes, so really make sure you focus on that. And now they're all perfectly aligned with the name. Okay, so if we do team list now, they're all added perfectly with the right colors. Now technically you could use an init function which always initializes all these things whenever you start a game, but of course then you can't have players join teams before the game. Another method that might be less impactful is actually have some kind of distance trigger that someone, when he comes near the spawn or something, like you always do a little check if something exists. And that would all be methods that would work a little bit better. If the first one crashes and there's nothing unconditional afterwards, you don't have to worry about anything being really impactful. So it's just going to return false and it's not going to change. So remember when I said halfway during the guide, you want to make sure that PvP is disabled when you put them all together. Now we have set the flag on disabled for PvP on the spawn, but we want to make sure it's been set in the stop command as well. And with that, we also want to make sure that people can't leave the spawn when the game hasn't begun yet. So let's set that up as last thing, and then this guide will end. Now, if you want to disable PvP while the game is stopped, you have to look into region again. So let's check region info, and we're now in the spawn and the field. Now, as you know, the spawn has a lot of flags, but what we actually want to target is the flag that actually denies PvP. So let's set the world. After you set the world, you can actually select the region. And then you can say PvP deny. Now you will not get much help in the command blocks on this command. You can actually keep that on unconditional because you don't know if there's going to be any players that can be teleported, and else you will have the problem that the next command block will not run. Now we will not do that yet for when you start the game, because of the simple fact that we don't want to start with PvP enabled right off the bat. We will only do that after a certain time has passed, so that will be something for a later guide. However, what we could use is a little flag called exit. If we set the exit on deny, they will not be able to leave the spawn, and this will lock the players in a certain area, which will be pretty amazing. So we're going to set that flag as well. We just control copy this command block, and instead of PvP we're going to say exit deny. And then we control copy this command block, and when the game starts we kind of want to be able to leave the spawn, so we're going to say exit allow. So we built in some resets already, so that's perfect. Now the team list will always remain unaffected because every time we remove a team it just gets rebuilt instantly, but of course without the players in it. So that's a great way of just simply resetting everything in a team, just rebuild it for a new match. So this is the guide that all concerns teams. We can now join a team, we can start a game, we can stop a game, we can teleport to the engine room, which is now an enclosed space where nobody else can get, and we can leave a team when the game stops, and when the game starts we'll just teleport all players to their respective spawn. That works perfect.